Good evening, everyone. I hope you guys are having an incredible day. Just checking in with everyone. Hello. Hey, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. So I have so many things that I want to talk to you guys about, and I would really love to just jump into it. Today is a very interesting, energetic day where we are really tuning into kind of an interesting gateway and opportunity vibrational frequency that we can really take advantage of. So there's a couple things that have really been coming up over the past couple of months that I think play an important role in how we are dealing with our current timeline right now. And one of the things that we want to kind of look at is just common events, common themes that have been coming up over the past couple of months and a lot of crisis. This last month was incredible amount of crisis. A lot of people were hitting rock bottom. We're going through pinnacle moments of um, just realizations about themselves, about their families, and what they're doing. And I think it's just a really good time in this energetic window to kind of reassess what we're doing here and take a look at what is this human experience? Why are we having this human experience? And what we can do to help ourselves um, lessen any kind of suffering that we might be experiencing. I think that anytime that we have not taken a moment to connect with ourselves, to meditate, to heal, um, we reach these moments where everything begins to compress into this very small container. And what happens is that we lose sight of the bigger picture. Our view becomes completely disconnected from the bigger purpose of our role. We forget that we are connected to an infinite source. And we completely forget that our abilities as a human are not discovered through external activities or through things that are occurring outside of us or stimulations outside or books or movies. It's actually something that we need to develop, we need to create. We are the creators of all of our experiences, and therefore everything that we're experiencing, we really need to somehow gain some accountability in what we're creating and why we're creating what we're creating. It is really, really tough for people that are in distress, in a state of survival right now, to see the bigger picture. And that's why I think it's really, really important for us to take the time to do that. A lot of people are feeling kind of disconnected from their source, and what's happening is that the lower parts of our physical body, the root, the sacral, and the solar, it's not just a vortex in your body. We have to remember that this is a field. It's an interconnected field around the entire earth, and it is a dimension. It's a dimension. It's an existence. It's a vibrational frequency. It is a frequency of creation. And anytime that we are operating in any one of those lower chakras, in any one of those dimensions of creation, we're going to obviously experience all of that which is in that dimensional plane. And it really, what happens in times where we have big celestial movements going on that are heightening the influence of these lower chakras, our survival, whether our safety comes into question, whether we're safe in this body, whether we're safe in this life, whether we're safe in our existence. And then we lose sight of the fact that we have a purpose and a divine design to the blueprint of this body. And all of that occurs because the vision and the energy, the attention is completely, let's say, it's intoxicated by these lower parts of us, our survival, our physical, we get entangled in desires that uh, we haven't properly spoken about or expressed, and we haven't looked at in ourselves. And what happens when we don't look at desires, they basically overcome us. They begin to take over us in such a powerful way that it begins to design how we're experiencing life. And the problem with that is that they're very short lived roller coaster type experiences where we begin to experience heightened emotions. And then the next minute, we are just flatlining and depressed or down, or completely invert the direct inversion of that energy in the other direction. So you went to the highest high point, and you can go all the way back to the lowest low point in that same um, uh, trajectory, same movement. So we want to try to avoid these kinds of ups and downs with that kind of movement. And we can do so by creating a kind of more solid foundation to our understanding of reality. When we go up to our solar plexus, in the center core of the body is the emotional body. So the emotions, again, they play a huge role in how we're managing the first two, the survival and the sacral creation energy. So if we understand how that works, we really need to take a moment to look at our everyday life experience. What experiences in our life are triggering us to feel that we need to be in survival mode? What experiences are pulling us out from the feeling of interconnectedness into a feeling of separation? And what emotions are we feeling that are pulling away from the highest point of our creation? If we maintain the attention in the lower chakras, we cannot connect to the higher levels. We simply will not be able to channel that infinite life force into the body. It becomes blocked, it becomes stagnant, it completely becomes disconnected. And when that happens, we become sick, because this energy around the body that is constantly needing to move, because we are movement, we are not solid matter, we are vibration. Every single cell in the body, every molecule is moving to create a network of this, what we call mass, this solid, which is not. If you look down in the cellular level, it's it's little cells that are put together to create this mass. And so you become these infinite points. And so these infinite points that become this body are always moving. And your vibrational frequency dictates the vibration that those points are going to be moving at. So it's really, really important to remember that, because we forget, we think of in terms of solid, this matter, this event, this experience is affecting me. And we forget because the mind wants to go to the past based on past survival experiences, or in the future based on things that could potentially happen. And all of those things are based on illusions, things that are not occurring in this present moment. And how that functions is because in the linear timeline of the first, second, third dimension, we're living there. So we need to move out of there. We need to change our thought forms from those spaces. How do we change them? So changing the perspective that we are solid and the experiences that are happening are affecting a solid being is going to help you by understanding that you are more fluid than that. You are not this identity that becomes hurt by something that occurs outside of you. You are not the identity that becomes affected. You're not the identity that becomes damaged or could potentially be hurt by something that is occurring outside of you. And all of a sudden, when you see yourself not as a solid form, you can begin to move on higher levels, because you're now tuning in to the higher truths, the laws, the higher laws of creation. In that same token, it's not that you're going to look at this physical body and say, it doesn't exist. I'm tired of being in the body. I want to check out. And that's a theme that's been coming up so much over the past month. People want to check out. People don't want to be in their bodies, don't want to be in their lives, don't want to be in the experiences they're having because they're hard. And what's occurring is that because of the tremendous amount of stimulation that's happening collectively, it's causing a tremendous amount of disconnect in how we're seeing ourselves. And that is a really big problem because there's a disassociation between the self and what it's experiencing, and then the things that are telling us that we need to be in constant survival. So it's really, really important that we, in that moment, that these things are occurring to us that are making us feel that we're in danger, that we're not safe, that we're not loved. We need to stop and listen to the message. As soon as the event happens, whatever it is that's triggering you, to check in with the body and notice, what is the body feeling? Is it feeling fear? Okay. So is it afraid because it feels unsafe? Because it feels unloved? Because it feels not attended to? Because it feels rejected, neglected, disconnected, alone, that it doesn't connect to things around it? Okay. And immediately address that need in that moment. You need to address it in that moment. So let's say in this moment you feel a fear. Okay. So the fear is that I feel alone. So in that moment, give yourself this feeling that you are deeply connected, you are safe, you are protected, you are not alone. And as soon as you feel that in your body, it creates this really powerful alchemical change. And this is very, very helpful because it pulls you away from the things that are happening outside of you to shift what you're experiencing inside. Because the inside doesn't know if what you're experiencing outside is real or imagination. Your chemical responses within are always going to occur as a response of what the brain is telling it, it's perceiving it, that it's experiencing. So that means that we have a lot more power and mastery over this physical body in any kind of experience that we can be having. So, for those of you that are going through hard times right now, that are feeling distressed, that are depressed, that are disconnected, that feel alone, that feel afraid, that feel somehow that you're not worthy, not good enough, take a look at the triggers and be attentive throughout the day. The moment that you start feeling that feeling, invert it. And through that process, you're educating yourself on how to heal yourself. And as things in the world begin to shift around more and more, because a lot of things need to change over the next couple of years, that will really probably test and put into question how we're feeling. This technique is going to be really essential because what's happening right now, because we are moving through closer to the photon belt, and moving at a faster rate. The entire universe, the entire organism is moving at a faster vibrational frequency, which means that things are manifesting in the physical faster, which means that if you start feeling negative emotions, it begins to manifest into an illness or into some kind of imbalance in the body. And even though we might not feel it immediately, we will feel it soon enough. It will cause an effect on the physical body. And eventually, we're creating these counter creative cycles with the body that create illness and destruction. And again, it's a counter creation. We damage this physical body. And the only one that can heal the body is you. You are the only one that can heal your body. So we really need to remember that the power of the mind connection with the body is the number one thing to help us learn how to manage and transform our everyday life experiences, and that the experience is just a temporary experience. Even if what is occurring outside is a finite thing that you feel that it's going to change something, just understand that things are changing all the time, and how you can participate in in that change is yourself as the creator of that projection to change your input into that, because your input as consciousness into that depends on what you're feeling in the body. So if we are encountering these parasitic people, you know, a lot of people, there's a certain division that's occurring right now in the world. And one of those things is people are waking up, and another side is that people are closing down more. They're completely disconnecting. They don't want to hear about it. They want to disconnect. They don't, some of people are going into major doubts about things, questioning their beliefs. And all of this is necessary. It's a necessary earthquake in order to readjust the puzzle pieces as we move into the next century. Um, it's a journey that we're going down right now. It's a certain timeline that we're going through right now. But as we are readjusting all of these puzzle pieces, we have to readjust the puzzle pieces that are linked to those moving pieces outside, because all of that is created and contributed to by our beliefs. So if our belief is that, let's say I am a helpless person, doesn't have enough support, doesn't have success, doesn't have money, doesn't have health, we are contributing to patterns of our behavior that are being supported by similarly parasitic behaviors externally. For example, I don't know, television, movies, watching a lot of movies, escaping. So, in a sense, we are both parasites that are being mutually parasitic to one another. We feed off that, it feeds off us. So, this is kind of like the dilemma that we're in. And until we begin to shift our perspective from parasitic exchange to creation state, where we now come up to the creation state of the collective, we just cause suffering and harm to another. So, are you doing the inner work necessary? Are you sitting down to meditate? Are you looking at those heavy emotions that are coming up? Um, any part of you that wants love or something from outside world, are you providing that for yourself, or are you expecting the external world to provide it for you? Today's energies that are here in this 1111 gateway, let's say, are incredibly opening to open our eyes and take a really, really sobering look at our parasitic and our depletion of life force in things that continue to keep us in cycles of suffering. And those things really have to change. We need to begin to observe what are the practical things that we can implement in our lives that we can begin to change immediately, like really change and embody that. So, this is something that I really would love to work with you today. And, let's dive deep into it. Let me say hi to everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. Hello, Dr. Christopher Powell. Wonderful to see you here. Pono888. Kevin Cole, so great to see you. Bibis Music, hello. Magic Salias, hi, so good to see you. JP Official, I like your robe, thank you. Daniel River, greeting from Canada, hello. William, it's so good to see you. Thank you for being here. Spaced Out Radio, hi. Geraldine, it's 38 degrees here, just a hoodie on. Oh my God. It's probably 60 something and I'm pretty cold. That's why I was wearing my sweater. It's so good to see you, Dave. Check out Spaced Out Radio, guys, every night at 9 o'clock. Please do check him out. You guys have to subscribe to his channel. JP Official, do you think we might live in some sort of simulation? Yes, I do. I think we absolutely, and I think that there is a lot of new science with understanding how this hologram, so to speak, is being created around us, how we are participating in that co creation. And in a sense, we are organism within organism within organism, but the movement of these organisms is either contracting or expanding. And wherever we have these contracting forces of life force energy, is a spiral, either a spiral that's going inward or outward. It's this is how the movement of the universe is. And I think that it's actually within this incredible design of of contracting and expanding that we can actually see that it's a hologram. It's self-similar holograms. There's an origin point. We're not the origin point. We are just one fragment of an origin point in some other multiverse. And it's not, it's like a box of mirrors. We are somehow interconnected to other aspects, like as if there's clone universes or simultaneously living fields of reality that are in other organisms. And the reason why I believe this is because the way that information organizes itself in the multidimensional body, and also how we are experiencing fragmentation of the soul, is very similar to how energy is kind of allocated within spaces, how it transfers, how it moves. We see that through the laws of physics and the natural world. And in a way, this is also how our bodies are inputting and outputting information. So we are literally a holographic machine that's creating a hologram. Our entire system is a hologram. Information is stored in the entire whole of the system. Genetic information is stored in the entire whole of the system. So it's really, really amazing how a clone can be created by just a part of your body, by just a little DNA from your body. An entire clone can be created. So in that same way, universes can be created in that same way. It's always think as above, so below. Whatever is true in this organism can be true externally. And there's so much in our organism that we still have not been able to understand, infinite functions that transcend our understanding of physics, maths, time, and space. So, there's so much more to know about that. That we as humans are incapable of fully wrapping our mind. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Luana, so good to see you. Less more. Is weekly planning and felt body sense compatible or contradictory? Weekly planning and felt body sense compatible or contradictory? Oh, okay. I get what you're saying, Les. So basically, is it realistic to plan like on a weekly? I'm assuming that's what you're meaning. Please do confirm. Um, no, it's important to plan, right? To have plans. We live in a world where we need to have practical, calendars and timelines for that information. But myself, I have my calendar planned out for 3-4 months in advance. But that being said, just because that is existing on some kind of timeline doesn't mean we're going to be stuck to that calendar, and it also doesn't mean that we can predict what will occur in those moments, or how we will feel in those moments. So what will ensure the success, whatever that means for you, uh, hopefully that success is in alignment with your highest expression. um, that the more that we are in the present moment and aware of ourselves in the now moment, completely connected to this physical body, completely aware of our emotions and our intentions of what we're doing, every now moment that you're aware of yourself, every now moment that you're embodying presence and practicing that presence, is the moment that you have come online. It's like we connect we plug in to the collective network of co-creation. But when we're not aware, we're disconnected. So when we're disconnected, we're basically automation. We are like robots. We're just reacting to the things that are happening. You're not creating anything. So, more so, whatever plans you make, um, even though those plans may have been made in a moment of awakening, if you're not constantly awake, those plans will not go in alignment with your highest expression. They're going to be counter creating. They're going to, some problem will happen, some chaos, some accidents happen. But if you are constantly awake, or you might be planning things that are really not good for you, right? So that's why being present in this present moment allows you to plug into the collective, understand yourself as an organism, allows you to understand the collective as an organism. And your intuition, you're leading by intuition. It's the intuition that allows us to live a life that's more interconnected to the whole, a healthy life, a vibrant life, a life that is fluid, instead of stagnation, doubt, fear, which happens when we're disconnected. And that's how accidents happen, problems happen, more chaos, more suffering happens as a result of that. And so therefore we go through more chaos. So this is why the difference between planning when you're connected and in the present moment completely changes the name of the game, because now you are fully aware of why you're making that decision, and you're not making that decision from a place of fear or doubt or any other emotion that can be informing that in a counter creative manner. You're actually tuning into that in a way that is very productive. Larissa, it's so good to see you. Welcome. Thank you so much for that question. I hope that answered that question. Hi, Lorenzo. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Tudor. So good to see you. San Clemente, California. Wonderful to see you. Lisa, so good to see you. Susanna. Oh, I'm so happy to see you, Susanna. Jason Van Leuven. Hello from Vermont. Great tuning in. Augustus, so wonderful to see you. Did you change your name? Augustus Snuffleupagus. So good to see you, Augustus. Vinay Lankar, Cedric Orange. So good to see you, Cedric. Aletha, thank you for the confirmation of what I've been receiving from Source. Wow, yeah, a lot of people have been telling me they tuning into similar information as well. So I thought it was important to have this conversation today. Love the way you're able to articulate this information in a way that makes one remember. Thank you, Larissa. I'm so glad you think that. Hello, beautiful looking from Bangladesh. So wonderful to see you, Vinaya from Bangladesh. Okay, great. Let's go to the next question. Pono says, subject to changes as we are with uncertainties. Yes. Kodes, I agree. Hello, Kodes. Hello, Jolene from Alaska. So good to see you, Grandmaster UV. Oh my God, Jolene. Hey, wonderful to see you guys. Wonderful to see you. All right, so let's get started. So another thing that we want to discuss today, in all of these topics of reconnecting to the self, is that um, healing, when we do DNA reprogramming, for example, this is a constant work. It is not something that we are doing just once in a while. And this is why it's super important for us to practice this. Please, please, all of my beautiful, beautiful people that are tuning in and that are tuning into this message, from all the love and compassion in my heart, I ask that you please take a moment. If you're here, it's probably because you have all of these inquiries and you're doing the work. But you need to sit down and you need to meditate. And sometimes there might be a really strong resistance for that. And the resistance is fear. It's a fear of the incredible amounts of emotions. When we haven't taken time to connect with the body and to tune in, we're accumulating a tremendous amount of tension and stress, emotional tension and stress. And it it stores within the muscles of the body, and we don't even realize it. We think everything's great. Even if you're relaxing on your sofa watching television, you don't realize actually how much resistance you're actually in, because a lot of times even the desire to watch TV or the desire to go drink or do any of these things is a survival mechanism to pull you away. And it doesn't even have to be so extreme. It can be anything from um, anything that takes you away from what brings a lot of joy into your life. So anytime that you're pulling away from the things that are filling you with love and joy, true love and joy, not just temporary escape, is just that. It's an escape. It's an escape from all of the overwhelming emotions that we haven't been able to deal with throughout the day. So, the most compassionate thing that you can do for yourself is to sit down and sit with that discomfort for just a moment and observe the discomfort and call it out, acknowledge it, let it know, understand what you're feeling, because this is how we abandon the self. And one of the biggest lessons that every single one of my clients identifies in their journey to deprogram programs of suffering is that we live in lifelong cycles of abandonment of ourself. And we are so deeply programmed and paralyzed in fear that we don't think that by connecting to the body is an answer, because everything outside of us is telling us the opposite. It's telling us to be in survival, to go be consumers, to go, prepare for the end of days, to go, just be in a constant state of fear. Everything is survival because survival keeps businesses in business. And we need to choose whether we want to be consumer survivors, or if we want to be co-creators, healed whole co-creators. And there's a big difference between the lifestyle of those two. One is and becomes eventually artificial intelligence and merges in with the network of programming and mind control. And the other comes completely disconnected from the things that are parasitic and yet compassionately interconnected to the whole collective, and is no longer looking at things as dual, but as a whole, and thinks as a whole. What's good for me? What's good for the collective? What's good for myself in my behavior? What's good for my whole family? What's good for my children? What's good for society? This is the kind of healthy thinking that we need to shift from. And 1111 represents it's a new beginning. It's a gateway opening. It's the entryway into spiritual ascension and awakening. So right now it's almost as if we're going through this overpass, where in which we are turning a major page for society and history through this time right now, because on the other side of that is a different way of being. And that different way of being is very you have to be accountable for you have to be very responsible and accountable for yourself. So if you cause suffering to someone, you need to check in with yourself and see why we behave this way. If you cause someone to be angry, why are you doing this? What is it that you're looking for? What does your soul need in that moment? And provide it for yourself. And it's the same way for the other person that is, let's say, victimized in that situation. What are they looking for? What do they need in order to become whole, to, to be complete, to be empowered? And so in this way, we're managing and healing the dualities within, because we are made up of feminine and masculine energy, every one of us. So one of these is usually overpowering the other. And for a lot of us right now, it's the masculine. This is the shift that we're having to make right now. We're shifting from the overpowering masculine, the imbalanced masculine, which is in fear, in control, in survival, all of those inverted masculine traits. And it doesn't matter your sex. This is the one that's taking over now. And the shift is coming into a balanced feminine, also not an over imbalanced feminine, which is manipulation, which is disconnect of the intuition, which is lies, all of those things. We need to come into that balance of those two. And what's at that center point is a very connected interaction with yourself, a truthful, fearlessly truthful interaction with the self. That fearless truth allows you to see yourself as you are in the raw state, with your negative emotions, negative experiences, and accepting those experiences as a part of your life, understanding your participation in them, accepting that. It's very hard for a lot of people to look at their participation in that negativity. Sometimes we have caused suffering to a lot of people. We need to accept that first before we can move anywhere, before we can pretend that we are in 5D, before we can pretend that we are elevated masters. We need to understand the participation that we're playing in the collective. And until we're able to do that, we will just continue creating from that same output that we put out. So it's really important to change that, coming into that balanced feminine. Look at your masculine and feminine self. Where are they at? How can they be healed? What do they need? And embody that. Cedric says, it's said most are not aware of being out of body. You're absolutely right. What happens is that the majority of us are actually not wanting to be in the body because of the overwhelming amounts of emotions that we might feel. And the problem with that, there's many problems with that. One of the emotions is the problems is that the body becomes a host for things because we're unconscious, because we are these robotic automatons that are not aware of the body. We don't know what's happening to our back. We don't know what's happening to our leg. And this is not separate. The leg is not separate from us. The back is not separate from us. But we seem to compartmentalize things, and everything that's just here is the only thing that's real and nothing else. Whole body awareness is imperative for your presence and in order to co-create. If you're only aware of certain parts of your body, your crown chakra isn't spinning, it's stagnant. So the only time this crown chakra is spinning and active, and the only time you're manifesting and co-creating, is when your crown chakra is active. And the crown chakra sees the body as a whole. So if you're looking from up here, you're seeing your whole self. If you're looking from down here, you're only seeing the emotions, the programs, you're only seeing that you live there. That's where you live. And that's a limitation. It's not the whole truth. All right, my love. So let's get into it. Thank you for clarity on weekly planning. This is an area I've been struggling with my whole life. I feel like my left and right hemisphere are at war, logic versus creativity. Yes, I completely understand. And I as well, in my early journey, I mean, I did not understand how spirituality could mesh with our everyday lives. There was such a major disconnect with those two for me. And it just continued to cause so much suffering because I thought we always compartmentalize spirituality as, oh, we'll take some time to meditate, we'll take some time to do the work, when in fact, the spiritual work is basically the spirit, which is the life force that runs, it's the engine that runs this system. So you literally cannot have the physical experience without the essence in a way that's productive. So it is the embodiment of the soul awareness that is the one that maintains us in creation. Otherwise, we are empty shells reacting like a little leaf in the wind. And that's a problem. That's a really big problem. So thank you so much for pointing that out. I'm sure a lot of people have that. We have a question about sexuality. What happens when we have sexual desires? Um, that is a very interesting question because desire is actually a really huge part of understanding the healing and integration of our creative life force. When we are lost in desire for, you know, lust or that kind of exchange, there's a lot of fear in that we need to understand. We need to understand what it is that we are disconnected from, because there is a tremendous desire for connection that is not being found inside yourself or outside of you. Obviously not outside of you, because nothing comes from outside of us, but we think that it does, and so we reach out to find a partner or something in order to fulfill something. And when you reach the root core of that desire, the desire is actually to be loved and to love. And that love and to be loved, it's the self that is needing that love. Um, Pleasure, the want for pleasure, when you follow the feeling of pleasure down to the root core, it is a feeling of ecstasy. It's a feeling of connection. And this ecstasy, we can reach this organically through meditation. You don't need to have sexual intercourse in order to reach that ecstasy, because it is a moment where the entire system is connected and comes online as it connects to the etheric realm, to the whole. And that ecstasy is actually what we are capable of achieving and embodying at all times. We are able to reach that state naturally through feeling love. And love is not romance, and it's not the romance between two people. It is, let's say, a connection to the whole. It's like a connection to the whole. You see yourself as the whole. This is where we start now moving from the illusion, because the idea of sex is really an illusion, that we are completely programmed. Everything from desire to actually procreation is a tremendous program of this system and of the organism, which we have the ability to transcend. We don't need to follow down that path. If you do choose to follow down that path, that's okay, but there's cause and effect. And always in cause and effect, there's suffering and joys. So if we're going to be experiencing life in that way, we can. The other side of that is to move outside of that, where you now see yourself as a whole, and those desires no longer come in to pull you away. It's just a matter of embodying love. So that's how it's not a matter of controlling the desire. It's a matter of understanding what you're seeking. What do you need? The part of you that is so desiring of that connection, of that union, of that intimacy, is the self that is desiring that intimacy, that connection, and that love. So this is just simple compassion of the self that you can work on to help yourself with that. Yeah, thank you so much, Marcelo. Hello, welcome, Pono. Thank you so much. Yeah, so Tantra, Tantra has kind of been inverted in its true meaning and its true form. What Tantra is actually something completely different than just sex or a certain touching, a certain way of touching or connection in sex. The true ancient practices of Tantra have to do with the union and the alchemy, the connection of the soul, lighting up the entire body as a whole, actually. And there's a lot of practices on that. And yeah, Cedric, you're right. It doesn't have to include that at all, as a matter of fact. Alisa says the balance feminine is a way to be. What about the balance masculine? Oh, balance of both. What I'm saying is that right now we are mostly masculine because most of us are in survival mode as a collective because of events that are happening. Um, globally. And so what we're doing is we're shifting into more of the feminine right now, which is using our intuition, using our connection to the infinite. All right, my loves, let's get started with our meditation. Thank you so much for joining, and let's get in there. We're going to start inhaling deeply. Breathing deeply. The breath is so important. Okay. And for today's meditation, we're going to begin by doing ohms to clear our spaces. So I want you to breathe deeply, and we're going to start with 3 ohms. Okay. And how we utilize ohm as a tool um, is that when you're vocalizing the ohm, that vibration that you're making with the O, I want you to feel it in your throat, feel it in your lips. And when you create the Om, the M sound, and you close your lips together, I want you to feel the vibration of that M in your body. That is such a powerful vibrational frequency. It's a tone that completely disconnects and rebalances the energies in the body. And I want you to imagine that it's like every time that you vocalize Om, it's like a gong that kind of clears the vibrational frequency of the body. So go ahead and visualize that as you do that, getting yourself into a state of meditation, and we're going to get started. Grounding down to the center of the earth, connecting with the earth as we unite ourselves, becoming one with the earth. Visualize a grounding cord connecting from the waist down to the pelvic bone, all the way down to the center of the earth, and anchor yourself at the core. And with every breath you take, just visualize yourself aligning with earth, maybe even interconnecting with one another that are here in this room meditating together. And as we breathe, we're breathing in through the nose, into the stomach, and exhaling out. And we're going to begin our first Om. Go ahead and follow along if you can. And if you can't, just listen. Om. Inhaling deeply. Om. As you're visualizing that M, you're going to feel the vibration in the crown of your head all the way down to the center core of your body. So just go ahead and feel that vibration. And what you're using your mind to help yourself see yourself as a whole vibration organism that is aligning to this vibrational frequency. We're going to do one more of those. Inhale deeply. Om. Breathing deeply into the base of the spine. Now that you're breathing, you have really activated your breathing in the body. I want you to begin to visualize from the center of the earth a powerful wave of green energy comes rushing up into the body, creating that vortex of energy through your body. And it's just rotating all around you. With every breath you take, it's as if we absorb and we pull up that earth energy into the body. Really use your imagination and your visualization to move this energy around the body. And our primary focus and attention is clearing the first three layers of the multidimensional body: the root, the sacral, and the solar. From the universe, from source, go ahead and visualize cosmic energy coming down to the crown of your head, combining with that green earth energy. Go ahead and mix cosmic and earth energy all around you. You're going to begin to feel that beautiful, powerful rotation around the body. So just focus on your breath. With every inhale, it moves one rotation, exhale moves another rotation. And in this way, you are clearing any debris in the 7 layers of your body. Okay, let's go ahead and take whatever we cleared out down to the center of the earth, channeling cosmic energy into Mother Gaia, Mother Earth. And just imagine that we are healing Mother Earth. Visualize that you're bringing that cosmic energy all around the planet Earth, into every organism, every living being, the sacred and divine energies of creation on this earth. Every human on this earth, for just a moment, breathes in consciously, remembers themselves on this planet, remembers their light, their essence. We're going to go back to the solar, and as we create this vortex, we're going to take 80% or just a larger percent of that up the spine, creating a fountain. The green and gold fountain of energy coats the outside of your protective field. Just imagine you're inside of a bubble. And outside of that field is where we are visualizing severing any kind of cords and connections to people, places, and things that have drained our life force over the past couple weeks, months. Anyone that we've been giving our own power away to in any way and in any imbalanced way. And with every neutralization of that energy, you're going to call back your life force into your body, breathing in. Okay, definitely feel more connected, more in your body, more grounded as you do that. So you're noticing how you are shifting from depletion of life force into collection of life force. And go ahead and take that 10% or the final amount that is remaining in this vortex. You're going to bring it into your field now. So go ahead and visualize that green and gold surrounding your body and coming into the body to heal it. So in this moment, I really want you to practice connection to the body, full body awareness, full body connection. And we're going to connect with every cell in this body, with every breath we take, allowing that energy to just come into the body, healing the tissue of the body, the muscles, the bones, down to the cellular level of the body. feeling whole, feeling complete, connecting. And so now that you're connecting to your body, you might notice that maybe some emotions that you have been feeling that have been ignored are coming up. And so I want you to notice the body and I want you to acknowledge, just compassionately look at your body, at how much you're resisting, how much you're storing, how much you're ignoring of yourself. And allow yourself to feel everything at once, the emotions, the sensations. Some of them might be uncomfortable, but as you acknowledge them, the sensation begins to lessen until you are completely still. There is no judgment, no thinking, no analyzing of any kind. You're solely connected to allowing your body to come into a state of neutrality and observation. Go ahead and tune in to any emotions that come up in the body now. Any sensations that are in the body that are not dissipating. I want you to take your attention to those. What is it that you have been resisting this week, this day? Go ahead and tune into that resistance. And just notice all of the battles that we've been having with ourselves, with others, feelings of blockages that we've been experiencing. Just take a look at those blockages. How do they make us feel? Tune into those emotions. They're quite relevant and they're quite accessible, which means that we are usually in those emotions the majority of the time. As you feel that emotion, identify the emotions that are in that discomfort. Breathing deeply. Just noticing what are some of the beliefs that we have that cause these emotions. Without judging, just observing. And as you observe those beliefs, immediately notice the kind of discomfort that it causes to feel and to continue to embody those beliefs. What do those beliefs cause you to feel? Do they make you suffer? What would be the opposite of that suffering? Take a look at that. What's a more compassionate way to look at these beliefs? Go ahead and notice what's the most compassionate thing to do for yourself. And go ahead and provide yourself with what you need. And you're going to notice an immediate shift in the tension in your body. Wherever the body was holding on to that information, if you found the answer, if you were able to identify the opposite of this, it'll completely relieve any tension, any pain, any heaviness that is in that space. And this is also how we can heal our body from any kind of malaise of any kind. Breathing deeply. Very good. So go ahead and notice if any other uncomfortable or strong emotions are in your body right now. Anything else? Take a look at that. It can be an ache or a pain in the body. It doesn't have to be an emotion. It can be an ache or a pain. What you'll notice, if you do focus on that ache or pain, there will be an emotion in that pain or in that discomfort. So emotions translate into pain over time. So we just have to decipher them. Okay, go ahead and see if you have another emotion in your body that's really strong. Go ahead and focus on that one. Notice where you're storing it in the body. Notice the part of the body that tenses up, that's holding on to that emotion. And go ahead and check in with yourself. What is it that you need in order to not feel that way anymore? What is it that you need? If the emotion is anger, for example, what makes you angry? Do you feel unsafe? Okay, so make yourself feel safe. Tell yourself, I feel safe. I am safe. I am safe. If something makes you feel unloved, give yourself love. I am love. I am love. And just notice how, just by these words, you begin to access the opposite vibrational frequency that you're storing in the body. It is such a powerful way to heal and to connect, to deprogram and to reprogram this human organism. Breathing deeply. And get very acquainted with this technique, because we're going to really need this in the next couple of months. Everything that we don't work on is coming up because we are evolving. And in order for energy to move, it has to move fluidly, not stagnantly or like bumpy, through all of these things that we're resisting. So anything that you're resisting is what we need to work on. Okay, as you inhale deeply and exhale, now that you have kind of reversed those emotions, I want you to see in front of you all of the fragments of yourself that have been created within the last year. Go ahead and take a look at your fragments that were created through traumatic moments, difficult things to accept, emotional things, fearful things, things that you've discovered about yourself or others that you were not able to integrate. All of those fragments are created as a result of these experiences. Go ahead and see all of your parts in front of you. Take a look at them. I want you to observe them one by one. How do they look? What are they looking like? You will get so much information just by looking at yourself here. If you see parts of your body missing, it tells you about what's going on. For example, if it's the right side, it's the masculine that is affected in the body. So whatever occurred in that experience heavily took that masculine and feminine out of balance. Sometimes you might see yourself crumpled up in a corner, or sitting down, or afraid, or naked, or disconnected. Go ahead and notice all of your fragments. People see all kinds of things when they see their fragments. This is what's existing in your vibrational expression right now. So oftentimes you ignore it. So I want you to see all your fragments, and one by one, I want you to provide them what they need to become whole again. We're going to bring down from source, from the highest dimensional plane, a vibrational frequency unique to you that will heal all of these fragments, that will provide these fragments with exactly the unique thing that each individual fragment requires. Go ahead and bring that vibrational frequency down to all of these fragments, allowing them to become whole. And you're going to watch them before your eyes transforming. You'll notice that you'll be able to breathe more deeply, more expansive breaths. The tension in your body begins to readjust because you are literally in vivo programming and deprogramming your DNA. You are healing your multidimensionality in this moment, in vivo, just by this practice, because parts of you that were in the shadows, that were hidden, that were unseen, that were suffering and holding on to thought forms of pain have now become aware. They have become awake. And so these are aspects of yourself that you're now bringing into the light. And so imagine if you do this for all the fragments throughout your life. Now you begin to go into the second level of awareness, where you begin to dive into the interdimensional realms. And we can talk about that later. But integrating your fragments, watch them heal, and they will merge into one fragment, one whole self. Breathing deeply. Breathing. Okay, now that you see your fragment, go ahead and see it whole. And I want you to see all of the cords that are connected to this fragment. We are constantly interconnected to one another. There is no separation, there is no disconnect. We are one organism. But what happens when we engage in self-destructive behavior is that we create entanglements that are throwing back information back and forth with one another, that are repeating that cycle over and over again. So what we want to do is, now that we became aware of that, we can change it, neutralize it, because we're never disconnected anyway. We are always interconnected. But we are calling back our life force, and instead of it being a source of draining, it now begins to be a neutral expression, a neutral interaction, mutually aware instead of mutually parasitic. So go ahead and see all of those cords, and you're just going to visualize white light, neutralizing all of those cords to all the people, places, and things that we felt have drained life force. And just noticing for a moment that there's more space for compassion, more space for love. And we see love in a new way. Go ahead and visualize this cords neutralizing. As you inhale deeply, calling back your life force into your body, I want you to inhale and bring it to the core. It's through this kind of work that you begin to build your empowerment of this vessel. Instead of rejecting the vessel, wanting to escape, wanting to leave, we now take ownership of the vessel through this work. Taking back your fragment now, that's your whole. You're going to breathe in and bring it into your body and integrate. This is you. This is who you are. You are this joyous, whole, healthy, vibrant, happy expression. So go ahead and allow that integration to take place in the body as it begins to merge in with the root, the sacral, the solar, the heart, the throat, the third eye, as it begins to integrate in the body. 7 bodies in, 7 bodies out, all charges down to 0, negative infinite. We're going to go up to the 9th dimensional plane and go ahead and repair the 9th dimensional plane of your body. Any kind of cracks that you see in your space, heal it, restore it. Go up to the 10th, we're going to do the same. 11th, we're going to do the same. 12th, you're going to do the same. And 13th, you're going to do the same. You're going to go to your root chakra. I want you to spin that root chakra as fast as possible. And remember that the chakras in the root, they look like these double-sided vortices. As you clean them more, they become larger. They become more interconnected to your whole organism as a whole. So visualize that you spin them and you are clearing out any debris that is within those, let's say it's like fibers. Okay, clearing out any debris, allowing it to be crystalline red. Going up to the sacral, go ahead and open that chakra, clearing it, spinning it as fast as possible, clearing out any debris. Going up to the solar now, spinning it as fast as possible, clearing out any debris in the solar plexus. Going up in the heart, spinning it as fast as possible, eliminating any debris in the heart chakra. Going up to the throat, spinning it as fast as possible, eliminating any debris in the throat. Clearing the body, releasing any programs that no longer serve you, allowing yourself to bring yourself into a state of complete neutrality and healing, balance. And as you are here in your throat, I want you to go ahead and see the feminine and masculine aspects of yourself before you. Go ahead and project them in front of you. How are they doing? Take a look at them. What state are they in today? Okay. If your feminine needs to be balanced and healed, go ahead and do that. If your masculine needs to be balanced and healed, go ahead and do that. Provide them with everything that they need in order to be whole, to be healed at this time. Breathing deeply. I'm going to go up into your third eye now, activating the third eye, clearing the pineal gland, spinning the force field in the center of the crown of the head. And you're going to create a light that illuminates from the root of the spine, up your spine, all the way up to the crown of the head. As you begin to open the channel of the center core, connecting all the way up to the 13th dimensional layer. Spin your crown chakra as fast as possible, activating your center of manifestation. And I want you to sit for a moment in this place, and I want you to set your intention, an intention for yourself. What is it that you need the most at this time in order to come into your highest expression? Set the intention. Feeling deeply supported by our highest dimensional levels, our higher self, our team, who we are expressed in the collective. Feeling supported by all of us here in this room that are meditating together as a unit, as one. Feeling close, connected, protected. In this connection to infinite consciousness is where I find infinite love and protection. In this connection to the infinite consciousness, to source, to my higher self, is where I find infinite love and protection. We are the infinite source of this love. It is within us. So as you connect up into your infinite source of love and protection, embody that feeling of being protected, of being loved, of being connected, of being complete, seen. Compassionately fill your body with love. Compassionately fill yourself with your light, your own light, down to the root of the feet, up through every vein, every vessel, every bone in the body, every muscle, the skin, filling the entire body with light. And you begin to feel this very beautiful sensation in the body of calm, of peace. This is the ecstasy, the connection to the source, the peace that you're capable of living in. In this moment, there is no harm, there is no fear, there is no survival, because you are completely connected to your infinite source. Go ahead and breathe into that, bringing it into the lungs, into the solar plexus, into the chest. And you can, if you want, touch your chest. And I really want you to direct that life force that you're channeling through you, through your hands, into your body, filling your heart with that love, filling your heart with the feeling of protection, connection, and in essence, healing this entire organism. Filling your back, breathing deeply. Very good. So go ahead and ground yourself down to the center of the earth and anchor that light into the center of the earth. And you're going to go ahead and bring yourself back into the room. And as you bring yourself back into the room, you're just going to open your eyes. I want you to continue to see your grounding cord, continue to see your chakras, all of them connecting up to the 13th dimensional plane, your protective field around you. And instead of the word protection, we want to use awareness. This is your awareness. This is you. You are here. All of this that is here is you. This is what you manage. This is what you master. So just remembering that, remember that this is all yours. So how we can overcome these negative emotions is exactly by this technique, bringing yourself into this remembrance that you are, that you don't need to be attaching to those negative emotions for very long. And looking at our own accountability in the co-creation of that negativity is really important right now. What roles do we play in that? And forgiving the self, connecting, being compassionate to the self, and feeding the self everything that it was seeking through that interaction, so that it can heal immediately in vivo along the way, becoming whole every day, every moment. So I want to thank you so much for joining me today. It was truly an honor and a pleasure to connect with you guys. You guys are incredible. Let's see if I have any questions here. Let me see. Breathing work energies. Hi, Geraldine. Hi, Angie. So good to see you. Hey, Glenn. So good to see you. Welcome. Very good. Awesome. Awesome, guys. Anushi, so good to see you. Beautiful. Anna, wonderful to see you. Immense gratitude. This is extremely helpful. Thank you, Jareth. Thank you so much for being here. Codes of the Earth. Oh my God, that was an amazing meditation. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for being here and all the work that you're doing. I felt so many emotions. Love, the calmness was amazing. You're welcome. You're welcome so much. I'm so happy that you were able to join me. Thank you, Michael. Michael, please do check out Michael's project. He has created Beyond Being Human, and he's in the process of creating this incredible documentary. So please do check that out. To go join the Beyond Being Human family on Facebook and check out those incredible interviews that he's doing. So I want to love you so much for being here. And please join me tomorrow morning at 11. I will be interviewing someone on Apotheosis Live with Jeff. And I apologize, I can't remember their name right now. I'm super tired, but it is such an honor to be here with you. Oh, there you go. Michael put the link for Beyond Being Human. So let me go ahead and copy this and put it in the YouTube, so that those in the YouTube, please join. You can also join his, what's it called? His YouTube channel. He has a YouTube channel. So check that out too. That would be really awesome. Yeah, so if you have any questions, let me know. If you want to work with me, go ahead and check out my calendar on my YouTube, on my website at geraldineorozco.com. Jesse says, I love myself more. Thank you. Yes, that is so wonderful. That makes me so happy. That is really amazing. Alex, so good to see you. Thank you so much for joining that. See you guys tomorrow. All my love. Bye bye.